The owners everyone thought were just Hollywood dreamers just made a move that could reshape Wrexham forever, and it involves one of the biggest names in world football. Alright Wrexham fans, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because we cover the Red Dragons like nobody else. 3 absolutely massive stories for you today, and trust me, you need to stick around for the last one. We're talking about a development that could define Wrexham's entire future. But before we get there, 2 other pieces of news you absolutely need to know about. Let's dive in. Story 1, Hull City stats preview. Right, first up, Wednesday night under the lights at the MKM Stadium, and the lads are heading to Hull City for what could be an absolutely crucial fixture. Now, here's why this matters. Hull are desperate to get back into that playoff hunt, but they've been struggling lately. Just 2 wins in their last 6 matches, and they got absolutely battered 4-1 at home by Middlesbrough. That's the kind of result that shakes a dressing room. Meanwhile, our boys? 9 games unbeaten in the Championship, 4 wins, 5 draws, and we haven't lost since, well, it's been a while. This is the kind of form that gets you noticed in this division. Here's the brilliant bit. If Wrexham win at Hull on Wednesday night, we leapfrog them in the table and plant ourselves firmly in that top 6 conversation. Read that again. Wrexham, in their first Championship season, potentially sitting in playoff positions in December. The history books tell an interesting story too. This is the first time these 2 sides have met in the league since February 2005. That's nearly 20 years ago, when Peter Taylor's Hull beat us 2-1 in League One. And get this, it's the first time we've ever faced Hull in the 2nd tier or higher. Every previous meeting has been in League One or League Two. Hull's record against newly promoted sides isn't exactly inspiring either. They've won just 2 of their last 13 against teams coming up, though one of those was against Birmingham this season, so they can turn it on. But here's what should have Wrexham fans buzzing. We've only conceded 1 goal in our 4 midweek Championship fixtures this season. 1 goal. We've kept clean sheets in the last 3. That's Championship level defending. And on Wednesday night, that defensive solidity could be the difference.
Now here's something that's flying under the radar but could be absolutely huge for our squad depth come January. Phil Parkinson has revealed he's arranging practice matches just before Christmas for the players who've been out long term. We're talking about Andy Cannon, Jay Rodriguez and Danny Ward. 3 quality operators who haven't kicked the ball competitively this season. Cannon ruptured his ACL back in February at Mansfield, brutal injury. Rodriguez has been dealing with a stress fracture in his foot. Ward dislocated his elbow in that brilliant 2-0 win over Millwall back in August. These aren't minor knocks, these are serious injuries that have kept genuinely important players out of action. Now, because of the severity of these injuries, the gaffer had to leave them out of his 25-man squad for the first half of the campaign. But here's where it gets interesting. Clubs can change their squad list when the January transfer window closes, which means come New Year's Day, these 3 are back in the reckoning. Parkinson's been clear about this. He's not just throwing them back in. He said they will only be able to do so if they've had the right training and the right exposure to 11v11 prior to that. That's smart management. You don't rush players back from ACL injuries or stress fractures, you get their match fit first. And it's not just those 3. Ollie Rathbone is chumping at the bit. Lewis Brunt is closing in on a return. Elliot Lee is getting closer. Suddenly, Parkinson's got options he hasn't had all season. The gaffer referenced George Thomason as the perfect example. Had a terrible start to the season through injury, wasn't even making the bench. Then suddenly he starts, puts in a statement performance, and now he's right in the middle of the team selection every week. That's the kind of turnaround these lads will be open for. Imagine having Rodriguez's experience and quality available in the second half of the season. Cannon's energy in midfield. Ward's shot-stopping ability. This could be like having 3 new signings in January without spending a penny. But those were big stories. What I'm about to tell you next is on a completely different level. This is about Wrexham's long-term future, and it involves some of the biggest names in global sport. This is massive.
Right, this is it. The story that's got everyone talking. Wrexham have just announced that Apollo Sports Capital, the majority owners of Atletico Madrid, one of the biggest clubs in world football, have become minority investors in our club. Let that sink in for a second.
the same group that owns Atletico Madrid, a club that's won La Liga, competed in Champions League finals, developed players like Fernando Torres and Sergio Aguero, they've just invested in Wrexham AFC. Now, before anyone panics, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney remain the majority owners. This isn't a takeover. The Apollo stake is believed to be less than 10%, so the Hollywood lads are still very much in charge. But here's what this really means. This is the second significant investment Wrexham have secured in recent months. Back in October, the Allen family came on board, now Apollo Sports Capital. Reynolds and Mac aren't looking to sell up and walk away, they're bringing in partners who can help them build something sustainable. Because here's what nobody's really talking about yet. Wrexham's rise has been phenomenal, but it's also been expensive. 3 consecutive promotions from the National League to the Championship. That's not just about winning matches, that's about infrastructure, wages, recruitment, stadium development. The money required to compete at this level is enormous compared to where we were 4 years ago. Phil Parkinson gets it. When he spoke to BBC Sports Wales, he said it's very positive news for the club. It helps the club move forward and build a sustainable club for the future. Sustainable. That's the key word here. The gaffer revealed he's been kept in the loop by Chief Executive Michael Williamson for weeks. This wasn't a surprise announcement. Parkinson knew something was happening, and on Sunday, Williamson called him to give him the heads up before the official announcement. It's a great positive story, and everyone is looking forward to working with the new investors, Parkinson said. Now, let's talk about what this money is actually for. The club have been clear. This funding will help with the ongoing development of the racecourse ground, or, as it's officially known, Stock K Raz. We're not just talking about a lick of paint here. The stadium's already had significant work done, but there's more to come. The racecourse is the oldest international football stadium still in use. And while that's brilliant for heritage, it also means it needs constant investment to meet championship standards. And here's where it gets really interesting. Apollo Sports Capital aren't just investors, they're operators. They know how to run clubs at the highest level. Atletico Madrid compete with Real Madrid and Barcelona domestically and regularly featured in the Champions League. The expertise and connections that come with this partnership could be invaluable. Think about it. Access to Atletico's scouting network, potential loan deals, knowledge sharing on commercial operations, merchandising, international expansion. Wrexham's global profile has exploded thanks to the Welcome to Wrexham documentary, but Apollo can help take that to another level. Reynolds and Mac said in their statement that Apollo's involvement will help with the vision and ambition of the club. That's not throwaway language. That's a signal that they're thinking bigger than just staying in the Championship. They want to compete, to grow, to become a sustainable top-tier operation. What would you do if you were in their position? You've taken a club from the National League to the Championship in 3 years. You've created a global phenomenon. But you know that the next step, staying in the Championship, potentially pushing for the Premier League, requires a different level of investment and expertise. Do you try to do it on your own? Or do you bring in partners who've done it before? Parkinson put it perfectly when he said, it's about laying the foundations for the short and long term. This is another step in that direction. We are a club that is constantly evolving on and off the pitch, and this is another step in that direction. Constantly evolving. That's been Wrexham's story since Reynolds and Mac took over. And while some fans might worry about outside investment changing the club's identity, this feels different. This isn't a faceless corporation. This is strategic partnership with experienced football operators who understand what it takes to compete at the highest level. The timing couldn't be better either. We're sitting comfortably in mid-table in our first Championship season, punching well above what most people expected. We've shown we can compete at this level. Now, with Apollo's backing, we've got the financial muscle to sustain it and potentially kick on even further. Is this the investment that secures Wrexham's Championship status long term? Possibly. Could it be the foundation for something even bigger? That's what makes this so exciting. The Red Dragons have already defied expectations at every turn, from the National League to the Championship in 3 years, a Hollywood fairy tale that became reality. And now, with one of European football's major players backing us, the next chapter could be even more remarkable. So, there you have it. 3 huge stories. Wednesday night at Hull could see us climb into playoff positions. January brings back Cannon, Rodriguez and Ward like 3 new signings, and Apollo Sports Capital's investment gives us the foundations to build something truly sustainable. Here's what I think happens next. We get a result at Hull, maintain this unbeaten run, and by January, when those players come back, we're sitting pretty in the top half. The Apollo investment means whatever happens, Wrexham are here to stay in the Championship. This isn't a flash in the pan. This is the real deal. From Hollywood glamour to European football expertise, all backing a Welsh club that just keeps defying the odds. What a time to be a Wrexham fan. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you buzzing about the Apollo investment or worried about outside influence? Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Come on, you Reds.